Ladies and gentlemen, we got some stuff to discuss. I know y'all expected a live feeds update yesterday, but I'm here to provide y'all with all the hot stuff today. In this 14th rant entitled Backdoor Backlash, we got to discuss the true reaction to the backdoor of Hisam here. I mean, Hisam has earned a new nickname. I'll call him Hisam Evolutionary because the man is quite diabolical. He's the villain we all wanted and have needed, but unfortunately, he showcased his ability and willingness to be a villain too soon. And see, the reason why it's called Backdoor Backlash, it has multiple meanings. It's an entendre in a sense, because a lot of people in the media try to convince you all, they tried to placate to you all, pander to you all. They tried to convince you Sari Fields wasn't playing well. All the while, they were overrating the games of straight-out floaters, glorified floaters. In their pursuit to humble Reilly, they basically exposed themselves as having no journalistic integrity. Because now, this week, the true backlash of it all is ironic. Not only are the players reaping what they sowed from last week, but certain people who had certain agendas last week, now they are exposed because they tried to push specific narratives. They've been giving Jared no credit, but if you go and watch these feeds, the only reason why Blue Kim's game has gotten so much better is because of Jared. Blue Kim is starting to see through America's rhetoric because of Jared. Not only that, there's a new 7-person alliance that's been created. Not only that, that 7-person alliance doesn't include Hisam. Understand, Coach, I gotta break down all the mistakes from last week that led to this week. I need to break down the hypocrisy I'm seeing in these streets. Please get yourself a cold beverage and kick your feet up, because this live feeds update you're not gonna want to miss here exclusively on Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism.
I've been thinking, lately it's just me against the world. Round and round I'm caught up in this swirl, trying to dig and trying to burrow. Pressure turned this stone into a pearl. Lessons that I learned weren't always thorough, sugar-coated like a churl. Now I'm really out here on my own. Now my homies acting like I owe 'em, done extending out my arm. Made a lot of money from my poems, been around it, now they say I'm on.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I can feel the stone shining today. I love it when all of my predictions are coming to fruition. Understand, I'm one of the few people who I may be willing to jump out on a limb to give you all my opinion on something. I don't say these things because I have an agenda, because I secretly dislike a player, so anyone they're connected to I'ma hate on. That's not how I get down. That's how, unfortunately, some of the colleagues get down. Understand, the hate that some of these people have for Jared has really ruined their eyes in terms of truly having a talent ID for good gameplay. It has ruined their opinion on being able to discuss any player connected to Jared, because now everyone's guilty by association that's playing next to Jared. Now they don't like Blue Kim. Understand, people are talking about this on the internet. There are more people willing to support couples in the past that were devout bigoted in the way that they played, prejudiced in the way that they played. They got more support than this couple that we've never seen before in 25 years. We've never seen an Asian woman with a black man on any show. Look around. We've never seen this before. This is something fresh, and this is something we should have saw coming, because I did say before the season Blue Kim does use a certain type of African-American vernacular. But because she's kept that same energy, you notice I have no problem with her. And just because she's connected to Jared to some capacity, I'm not going to act like she's playing perfectly. But I will say this, up until Jared started whispering sweet nothings in her ear, she was making sloppy mistakes. She was guilty by association herself for being close to Jag. Jag pushing so hard for that Reilly flip, knowing that they didn't have the votes, creating an argument that they already had the votes locked in. But see, the blessing in disguise of all this, the blessing in disguise of Sari pushing to try to save Reilly is this. Sari and Izzy position themselves to Jag, Blue, and Matt as the only people willing to play ball with them to try the flip. Meanwhile, players who they thought they would have more support from, like Cory and America, they saw their true colors. Because Listen, this ain't me throwing shade at Cory. I think Cory's playing well. I told y'all he's number one in my power ranking. We'll get into a little bit later in this rant how America threw him under the bus to Jag. Understand, America, it's funny. The same people who acted like your game was so good, they only said that because of your connection to Cory, who they like more than you. Now that you have thrown him under the bus to Jag, I'm just going to let it out the bag. Ladies and gentlemen, she spoke to Cory. Cory told her about 2 final twos he has, and she tells Jag immediately about it the next day. Earlier today, matter of fact, on feeds, she told Jag that Cory has a final 2 with Bowie Jane and a final 2 with Jared. Now, you tell me, if she really cares about Cory's best interest in his game, why would she air out his dirty laundry to Jag when Cory's after Jag and Jag is after Cory? She's a terrible player. And in this rant, I'm going to explain even further why she's bad. And since I've been the person telling y'all she's bad this whole time, or at least telling y'all she's overrated, I'm not the one that got to be fake. I'm not the one that has to change my take. It's everyone else that has to now get with the times, see where the wind is blowing, and then regurgitate the public opinion talk again. See, I've always gone against the grain for better or worse because I'm confident in what I see on those feeds. Other people seem not to be that confident. And that's why I'm looking at people very funny style now. Because now that Hisam has been backdoored, ladies and gentlemen, what you got to understand is Hisam initially blamed America for his backdoor because she was the one who ran the intel back to Felicia and Cirie initially, that Hisam considered everyone on the older side the leftovers of the people who weren't included in Reilly's inner circle. Because of this specific terminology, Hisam tried to play semantics gymnastics with America. He had a 1v1 debate with her over this. America was not for the F stuff. She stood her ground, and I'll give her some credit there. I'm going to be unbiased here. But with that said, for America to stand her ground with Hisam and then literally later on in the night be the main one trying to fight to save him and flip the vote to save him, it further shows the double standard. Because last week, when Cirie did something that was in her best interest 100% to save Reilly, and we have a historical context of Cirie preferring to keep women around over men, people said that was bad gameplay solely because they didn't like Cirie or Jared. Now this week, those same fans who were so hard on Cirie, who's clearly controlling the game still, they're the ones this week now creating the argument America's playing well for trying to force a flip to save Hisam. Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep it real. A lot of these people are habitually line stepping.
Stop the cap.
It's time to stop the cap. Stop it right now, man. We've seen enough. All right? Why is it okay for America, an inferior player, objectively speaking? She's an inferior player. Why is it okay for her to just float on along and you overrate every little thing she does, but when Cirie is actually doing what is best for her individual game, her son's overall game, and the larger, not only brown sugar babies, but also bye-bye B-word's best interest, why then do people act like Cirie isn't warranted in keeping Reilly? It's because people had a personal agenda against Reilly, like I told y'all, and it stemmed from week 1. Then when Hisam gets hit with the same karma because he established a certain amount of high profile, because he was heavy-handed, because he chose to be Dr. Dictator, he did all these things. Cirie didn't make him do these things, he did them himself. And this is what pushed Cirie down the path of wanting to flip that vote to humble Hisam. Now all of a sudden, when the black woman's HOH, now all of a sudden America want to start playing hard. When I can create the argument she's been overplaying ever since week 1, just like Mimi. And this is why I said Mimi and America both are hurting their games. Now for different reasons, of course. I could create the argument before week 3 began, America was in a better standing with Felicia, Cirie, and Izzy than Mimi was. Now I can create the argument because Blue Kim has put in the hustle. Blue Kim, she's already thrown America under that magic school bus to Felicia. She told her, hey, look, I can tell America is trying to force a flip. I can tell whatever Hisam told her, it is resonating specifically with America. America thinks she has Cameron, she thinks she has Red, she thinks she possibly has Bowie, and she thinks she can pull in Matt. She got to understand, America's read on this is terrible. She thinks Matt is going to trust her flaky self, when she didn't give Reilly a vote, when she was never willing to keep Reilly. She thinks Matt is going to be willing to keep Hisam, the one who got out Reilly, just to follow her to the end of the world to be a target in the coming weeks. America's read on the house is absolutely abysmal. And if someone tells you otherwise, I'm sorry, they are biased. They are not being fair with their entire interpretation or their analysis of what is going on here. Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of these people are terrified to debate the talking points I bring up. And the talking points I bring up are the ones that get too close to the sun. And if you're not careful, these hot takes can be scalding with the tea. And that's why people love to hear from me, because they know I'm not going to baby you. I'm going to give you the type of game talk you deserve, because I know you're watching these feeds along with me. And I know you want high frequency game talk. So that's what I'm going to provide with you. That's what I'm going to provide you with. So what you got to understand is, before Hisam's Backdoor, on Sunday night, well, I guess you could argue this was Saturday night as well. There was a moment where they almost flipped it to being Mimi that was thrown up. Red almost got thrown up. Bowie almost got thrown up. Blue almost got thrown up. Matt almost got thrown up. Now, I'm happy in the end they didn't do that. And the biggest reason why I'm a full supporter of getting rid of Hisam now is because on Sunday, Hisam approached Izzy and he pushed for them to target Jared and Cory next week. Wait a minute, Hisam. You're going to go to Izzy Fields. You're going to go to her and try to get her to turn on her brother? You're crazy, coach. Just because you have no loyalty to anyone in Professors, because you want to be at the cool kids table and have a midlife crisis, doesn't mean Izzy has that same thought process. And listen, Izzy's not dumb. She had a moment to herself where she was a bit emotional, because she knows, if I'm sitting at the end with Jared, I lose. If I'm sitting at the end with Sari, I lose. If I sit at the end with Felicia, I lose. If I sit at the end with Cory, I lose. She's noticing everyone in her core five she loses to. But I applaud Izzy for not being someone who is just scrambling for the sake of scrambling. Izzy's not in America. And that's what you need to understand, coach. There's a time and a place to play hard. America doesn't know when to calm down. She wants to go up to Matt and tell him he has slop brain because he don't want to keep Hisam. I think you have slop brain to forget how much Matt cared about Reilly to suggest he should keep egotistical Hisam evolutionary. America, your whole pitch does not make any sense, coach. Oh, we need to get 6 numbers for this vote to keep Hisam, because if that Professor's Alliance really exists, I'm truly nervous that they're going to pick us off one by one. Well, here's the funny thing. America doesn't know that Matt, Jag, and Blue are now within this Deadly 7, new Savage 7 type alliance. Of course, with Sari, Felicia, Izzy, and Jared. They don't know that America doesn't know that they're in that alliance. So while America is trying to run the Jag, trying to convince him, trying to run the Matt, and convince him he can't trust Jag or Blue, literally everyone is starting to believe they can't trust you, America. Because now Blue is clocking your game. And see, America, your biggest misplay was last week. Your jealousy of Reilly, you allowed that to encapsulate your mind and enthrall you down a path where I feel as if you shouldn't even wanted the only other young white girl to leave this soon. Because now you're the one basically being great value Reilly yourself. Let's be honest here. You're dollar store Reilly. You're flea market Reilly. You're the flea market floater version of Reilly. Am I lying? No. Am I lying? No. Literally, she got rid of Reilly so she could be the center of attention and recruit all of these stragglers and then be the new Reilly that's in the middle. But the middle alliance was already snitched on by Cory anyway. So what you think you're getting off, you're not getting off because everyone can clock what you're doing. And because Blue Kim has been listening to Jared. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people want me to talk about Jared flirting with the idea of telling Blue his secret. You got to understand. Jared, in my honest opinion, he's saying these things to get Blue to see how serious he is about her. The fact that he's willing to contemplate telling her a secret, it makes Blue believe she's being played less. If Blue believes she's being played less, she's more likely to listen to him more, okay? It's a give or take thing here. And Jared is giving her just enough by the day for her to start to see being with Jared is going to help me get deeper in this game than being with Jag. Being with Jared is going to get me deeper in this game than being with Matt. Being with Jared is going to get me deeper than being with America. She sees it. So you got to understand these things. People act as if Blue should play badly just so Jared can't stay as the best player on the board. They almost want all of these players to make bad decisions so their faves who are currently playing badly, by default, can start playing well. And I must ask the question, are you a real fan of the game if you're rooting for bad gameplay for the sake of it? This was a reason why I was devil advocate in throwing out there that it may be a bad move to backdoor Hisam. But now that I know Heisen was pushing for Jared and Cory to go on the block next week no matter what, you don't need to compete in pressure cooker, coach. You feel it, didn't me? Addition by subtraction. But I'm saying though, y'all, so you got to understand, the same fans that told us Sari Fields was bad for trying to keep Reilly are the same fans saying America is some mastermind for trying to keep Hisam, when I can create the argument it's more of a losing battle to try to keep Hisam than Reilly. When, let's keep it real, America, you, along with Mimi, not fighting harder to keep Reilly is exactly why those members of the original family-style alliance, and let me not forget these alliance charts. I know some of y'all like it when I put it in the background just so y'all can put some faces to names. You know, I'm trying my best to give y'all the works, but understand here, America revealed her true cards in that moment. You know, so now when news starts to get out there to both sides of the house virtually that America's playing both sides, Jag is more likely to believe that narrative. You know why? Because you were not a staunch vote to keep Reilly, despite how much Reilly always tried to include you, America. See, Jag sees through that, and Jag will always be more cool with Reilly than you. Yeah, he might flirt with you here and there with his chicken suit on, and I noticed the innuendo of how America's trying to play. She's basically trying to throw herself, theoretically, at Jag and Cory, trying to see which one's thirsty enough so she can manipulate them. But America, I'm here to tell you, if you had Riz like that, you wouldn't have hated on Reilly so much and needed her to leave in order to get closer to Matt and Jag. But once again, these are the conversation no one wants to have. See, what you got to understand is a lot of people have an agenda against the players playing well when the players playing well are actually giving us a week-to-week great show. It's the Americas of the world that's really doing nothing, but they're the ones that they want to get a free pass to the Islands of Adventure every week. They don't want America to ever be held accountable for her actions. But I tell you this, with America pushing this hard to try to save Hisam, all she's going to do is make herself into the next threat. If Red is the threat for next week because of how he's been acting lately, I wouldn't be surprised if America is the target before Cameron now. Because America, if there's one thing I'll give Cameron credit for, he knows when to just shut up. He knows when to just coast. He knows when to, all right, I'm reading the room. Let me just let them get that off. It's not a big deal. America's different. Literally, the minute America gets some information, she becomes a gossip girl on the CW. She turns into Blake Lively. I'm cooking her. But seriously, though, she turns into Blake Lively the minute she gets some intel. Instead of depositing that information and holding it in, saving it for a rainy day, allowing that to appreciate in her savings account, she don't want to do none of that. Instead, because she's played such a minimalistic game, because she's played such a scary floaters game, she feels as if she has to overplay to get her agenda out. But here's the thing. Y'all can look at these numbers and tell Hisam don't have the votes, because if I just pause this for a second, Bowie Jane and Red are guaranteed votes to keep Cameron, and that's why Cameron's the perfect pawn to get you out, Hisam. I'd argue if Jag was on the block next to you, you would have a better shot of staying. I could create that argument, in my opinion. That's just my take on it. Y'all don't have to agree with me, but I think if Jag was on the block next to you, I think Bowie, Jane, and Red, and Cameron, I think all three of them probably vote to keep you, believing they could use you, right? But because Cameron is sitting there, Red and Bowie Jane, they've turned on you completely because they don't have a choice. Now, Red, he's a bit frustrated because he was kept out of the loop, and he said that to Hisam, but Red has no control over this week. And because everyone knows that Red has been throwing all these comps, it's kind of impossible for Red to lay low from this point further. You got to start winning now, Red. And I can create the argument America need to start winning too. But I don't think she's aware of the fact that she needs to start winning yet. I think she's still a bit delusional. I think she still believes her game is perfect like her stans want you to believe. She's so jealous of Jared, it's unimaginable. But you got to understand, I can't blame her. Jared is playing the game her fans think she's playing. And that's why Jared gets all this hate. But let's just count these votes real quick. So y'all know for a fact, there's no way Hisam's is staying this week. If Reilly didn't have a shot, you know Hisam's not. And here's why. If all of Bye Bye B words are voting for Hisam to leave, because you got to understand, Mimi can't afford to go rogue. She has to work her way back in the good graces. She can't make another dumb decision to get her put in the America box, the red box, the red box. Well, this season's a movie, that's for sure. But seriously, though. So as long as the 5 Bye B words vote to get rid of Hisam on top of Jared, he's already cooked. Understand, Jared and Cory are the two main components, the two main cogs in the wheel that kept this blind side in motion. Because when Cirie was trying to push for Red to possibly go up to split up him and Cameron or someone else, it was Cory and Jared who came up. I don't know if they went into the HOH room necessarily, but I know for a fact they went up to them and they 100% filibustered every narrative and told them, no, we have to take the shot now. You got to understand, the thing that will make Cory more comfortable with the alliance he's in is if Hisam's gone, because he knows, okay, they're not going to try to pit me and Hisam against each other. I can trust in this. Also, take into context, the fact that America's already thrown Cory's game completely under the bus to Jag, now Jag has real dirt against Cory. All Jag has to do is share that information with a Matt. If Matt shares it with a Blue, if Blue shares it with a Jared, if Jared shares that with Cory, understand, all of a sudden, America is completely toast. She's French toast sticks. Huh? No syrup, though. Because her game is dry and bland. But seriously, though, you got to understand, it was such a miscalculation on her part to tell Jag that amount of information about Cory. Cory was the only one left in this game, I honestly believe. Just look at the numbers here. Who else besides Cory really has America's best interest? Maybe Cameron and Red, maybe. But really, Cameron and Red care about themselves, you know. Now, of course, Cameron and Red, they've been trying to keep their profile low. On Saturday night specifically, they were just focused on trying to make it to the mid-game. And then when the mid-game comes, they think they can recruit Cory. They think they can recruit America. They think they can recruit Bowie Jane. And basically, if you peep game on it, they're trying to basically have their own counter cookout. And I don't think anything is malicious in that. I think they see the numbers, and I think they see, okay, you got Cirie, Felicia, Jared's in the inner circle, you got Mimi there, you got Izzy, right? They know there's certain players that will never turn on each other, and that's why they need each other. So I want that to be stated too. I don't want y'all to think I'm in any way, shape, or form trying to label a player problematic in that sense. But I do think it's very problematic for fans to create the argument that Cirie's playing bad for the same thing that when America does it, they act as if she's some heroic figure. You know, this is part of the double standard of reality TV. You know, just like the showmance we see today with Jared. People aren't even giving that showmance a chance. Every little comment that is said from Jared's mouth, they make it seem like it's the biggest deal in the world. If the girl he's with doesn't mind, if the girl he's with is laughing at the joke, why are you taking it so personal? Maybe you need to lighten up a bit. Do I got to let these stones shine a little bit more? Lighten up a bit. People are so caught up in the BB24 mentality of trying to cancel every black man they see that they're not realizing BB24 is gone. That's lost and gone now. We're in a new era. Literally, Hale Jr. was the first boot, and now Bruner Jr. is about to get backdoored out this house. We've already moved on. It's time for y'all to move forward too. The problem is a lot of y'all like living in the past. But the truth is, if you want to live in the past, go watch 24. Allow the real unbiased people covering 25 to flourish. Because the problem is, a lot of these people with big platforms, they will tell complete lies, and they'll allow lies to become the new truth. Now Cirie's getting bashed for doing the right thing, and then you got America out here fighting a losing battle when we can look at these votes. Who is going to keep Hisam, y'all? Jag's not going to keep Hisam because he wanted him out. Blue's not going to keep Hisam. She wanted him out. And she's in the 7-person alliance with the team that basically backdoored Hisam to work with them. Matt's not going to keep Hisam because of Reilly. That's 3 votes right there. Then you add Jared. And then you add the 5 members of Bye Bye B words. That's already 9 votes. So what battle is America really fighting? A losing one here. Okay? But what does it say about her that she doesn't know when the battle's already lost? It says she has a terrible perception. It tells us all she has terrible social awareness. And it tells us all, for all the overhyping of how good of a social player she is, really she's not that good. It was just bigger personalities around that she could blend behind. But once the Reillys go, now you're the young white girl trying to use your sexuality to get ahead. Now you are the one who's on front row street that all of these older players can see from a mile away. And as soon as Hisam leaves, you'll be further exposed. And that's the only reason why you really want Hisam to stay now, America. But you were the main one who threw him under the bus to the HOH, though. You wanted him gone. Now all of a sudden you don't want him gone? You only don't want him gone now because you're realizing you played yourself. But the way out of playing yourself isn't to play yourself further by throwing Cory under the bus. Literally, you have thrown away every single opportunity you had to probably make jury now. Because, I mean, like, here's the thing. It's still possible for her to make jury, but I could easily see a scenario where Cameron is on the block next to Red, Red wins veto, America gets thrown up, and they decide, hey, let's take out America first. And this is the danger of letting Cameron stay in the game. If Reilly was on the block next to you, America, I think Reilly goes home. But because you were so jealous of her ability to make men want to be around her, you got rid of her prematurely. So the same fan saying her move is premature, how about you say the same thing about America? Oh, that's right. America is judged differently than Cirie for some reason. See, my job is to get y'all to see that what's going on here is not fair to Cirie. It's not fair to Jared. Because if it wasn't for Jared, Blue would be in a bad situation right now. Jared has kept her out of the firing line, the firing squad's way. And now Blue is starting to ingratiate herself to that foursome of Izzy, of Felicia, of Cirie. And of course she was close to Jared, but she's also ingratiating herself now to Bowie because Bowie now knows that Blue is putting in the groundwork to save Cameron. So you got to understand, while America is low-key ruining and sullying and cutting ties with players to try to keep Hisam who they all dislike, Blue is doing the exact opposite. She is actually mending fences by reinforcing the idea that she knows Hisam needs to go. So it's funny. It's almost a yin and yang happening between Blue and America. Whereas last week, I could agree that Blue's game was beginning to take a hit, but that was mainly because Reilly was the target of the week. Of course Blue's game was going to take a hit because Blue and Jag were working hard to try to keep her. But now we fast forward to this week, it's very impressive to know that Blue is willing to listen to Jared. She's willing to hear him out. And because she was willing to hear that man out, her game is in a better position than it's ever been this season. Seriously. And if I were to ask y'all after Reilly leaving, did you believe Blue would be in this good of a position heading into that following Tuesday? All of y'all would say no. But this is an example of how great Jared is playing. So you have to ask yourself, how is Jared playing this magnificent? And there are so many people unwilling to admit it if race is not playing a role. Oh, yeah. I'm going to corner some of these people. Because if you think America is okay and justified for doing what Cirie did last week, and also you're willing to give Cory credit, but never our brother Jared, and y'all know me, I'm cool with Cory and Jared. And this is why I'm holding accountable America for selling out Cory. See, I'm not like these other folks. So because of that, we need to start asking more questions of other people covering this game. Don't let your dislike of a specific group of men turn you into a hater of every man that represents them in the future. You got to let that hate go. You got to be willing to forgive and forget. And at the end of the day, Matt, he refuses to forgive and forget what Hisam did. He refuses to forgive and forget what Mimi was willing to do to get rid of Reilly. So he's already told people Mimi's going to be his target. He refuses to forgive and forget what even America was okay with doing to get rid of Reilly. And this is why Matt is not going to follow you bunch of floaters to the end of the world when he has a 7-person alliance he can lean on right now. The only reason you want to recruit Matt, America, is because you're looking around and you're thinking, if Hisam leaves, we don't have a young strapping man to help us. And let's keep it real. You always wanted to convince Matt to do something on the side with you because you wanted Matt to yourself, and that's why you wanted Reilly gone. You would have never tried to approach Matt for this if Reilly was still around, because you knew Matt would go to Reilly with it. Now that Reilly's gone, now you all of a sudden, now you want to whisper in his ear and be the new Reilly. So this is why I'm clowning you as being a flea market floater Reilly. Because the truth is, everything you claim you didn't like about Blue and Reilly, you literally have tried to do, but you're not good enough to do what they have done. And that's why your game has gotten worse the more you've tried to be like them, when you could have been just trying to be yourself. So you got to understand, Izzy blew up on Hisam earlier today. She basically told him to stop lying and all this stuff. Now, to be fair to Hisam, outside of the initial backdoor where he was kind of lying a bit, trying to act like he didn't say some things he said, I feel like last night when he talked to Jag and Matt and he told them about the professors and he told them where the numbers lied, all of that was accurate. He's the one who pinpointed why Jarrett didn't send Reilly to the nether region. He's the one who explained why that didn't happen. He sent Jag there because he wanted to leave Reilly available to be taken out by Hisam. Hisam really aired out some dirty laundry. Now, the thing is, though, Hisam, you airing that out so soon, you've pretty much unloaded the entire clip. You have nothing left you can use now. So from this point forward all the way to Thursday, your pitch is going to be redundant because you said too much too soon. I would, excuse me, I would have been slow dripping a lot of this information, trying to get people to want to hear more. I feel like he told them he gave them too much of an exposition dump. And when you give people too much of one, listen, they will believe you. I think Jag has resonated more with him than Matt, but you got to keep it real. Like, at the end of the day, Jag wants you gone. And even though he does feel bad for you, even though Jag doesn't want you to feel alone, even though he doesn't want you to feel ostracized, Jag is also someone who's fully aware of the fact that you need to go. Because if you don't go, the likelihood that you can play both sides some more increases. And then you no longer need Jag after this vote. Like, you can act like, oh, I'm going to owe you all my life in this game the rest of the way if y'all vote to keep me, but Jag is also aware of the fact that America sold them out when they tried to push for the flip last week. So because of that, Jag won't even entertain keeping Hisam because he believes it's a trap being set up by America to make him, Blue, and Matt the targets again. So isn't that funny? America somehow is being blamed for why Reilly left by Jag. Mimi is somewhat being blamed for why Reilly left by Matt. And Hisam's on his way out, and he took the most blame. So once he's gone, Mimi and America's going to share the blame for what happened to Reilly. Oh, and by the way, Hisam also aired out Cameron. He said, y'all should keep me over Cameron because if it wasn't for Cameron airing out your entire alliance, we wouldn't have known who to go after, and it wouldn't have been such a locked-in vote to get rid of Reilly. So now, I think Jag, Blue, and Matt are never going to trust Cameron again. Which does help me because I was really worried Cameron would be able to just weave back in with them. Hey, I'm handful strong. But you got to ask yourself, how'd you call Reilly like a daughter to you and you were so quick to throw her under the bus? You'll do the same to me. I mean, Jack's saying that right out about Felicia. Oh, Heisen was in her alliance and she turned on him that quick. I don't trust this 7-person alliance as far as I can throw it. Which was very smart, very accurate in what Jag had to say there. I can't knock that logic either. So you got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, now that we are down to about 14 players left, about to be 13 after Hisam leaves this game, the game is truly moving at a pace where if you haven't laid the groundwork early, you are now forced to put your game in harm's way to try to catch up. And unfortunately, because Mimi and America were okay with floating. Now, let's be fair. Mimi didn't have a choice as much as America did. Mimi had a best friend who was the target week 1. Mimi didn't want to abandon that sister. Mimi was cognizant of the fact that if she abandons her, things can get worse for her. So I feel like Mimi was kind of in an unfair position. Let me be fair to Mimi there. But America, what's your excuse? You were included in the majority alliance from day one. You were too scared to truly invest in those players. You were truly scared to water those plants of all of those players on that side. You were kind of halfway in, halfway out. And as soon as Heisen became HOH, what did you do? What all floaters do? You ran to power, and then you start acting like, oh, well, I know we haven't talked in any game yet. Well, that's your fault then, America. You mean to tell me you didn't talk any game with Hisam week 1? That shows me how cocky you were because you were part of family style. Then as soon as Heisen becomes HOH, now all of a sudden you want to be his best bud. And then as soon as Felicia becomes HOH, then you throw Hisam under the bus. Well, now Felicia knows you'll throw her under the bus next week. That's why when Felicia and Blue were discussing you, they pinpointed and clocked your game completely. So now there's nowhere to run for you. Because the minute Bowie Jane and Red find out you're fighting to keep Hisam over their guy Cameron, you think they're going to trust that middleman stuff anymore? America, you're literally throwing away all of the pieces on your side of the chessboard. And for what? To keep Hisam, the guy that you threw under the bus already? This is the same critique I had of Mimi when she threw Cameron under the bus to Hisam, but then fought hard to keep Cameron over Reilly. Understand here. This is no agenda. This is just me showcasing my consistency and the fact that, listen, man, listen, we have a term in the FIFA community called dead eye, when someone can just aim from far away and score a goal. When it comes down to it, bro, I got the power shot. It's slow motion. You know what I'm saying? So, in closing, what I want you all to understand is in this live feeds update, Hisam has done himself a great service in fighting. I'm happy he's been fighting. Unfortunately, the people that he has to pitch himself to are the exact people who will never keep him because Red and, of course, Bowie have incentive to get rid of him before Cameron. Because he can't get those two numbers, it is mathematically impossible and improbable for him to get 6 votes. Because even if he has America locked in, he's not going to have Blue because Blue's not going to turn on Jarrett for him, right? If you don't have Blue and if you don't have Matt, you're never going to have Jag. And if you don't have those 3, and if you don't have Red or Bowie, then literally all the people in the middle you would have needed, all of the floaters you would have needed to keep you because you could be a shield for them, they all see greener pastures elsewhere. And they're not going to ruin their games to try to keep you just because America's willing to ruin her game to keep you. And that truly is the backlash of the backdoor, ladies and gentlemen. So now, I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. I would like to hear your opinion on this. Do you agree with me that the same fans last week quick to call Sari bad at the game that are so mum's the word all of a sudden when it's time to hold America accountable, are you willing to agree with me now that those people were pushing agendas to you and they really don't know what they're talking about? Are you willing to agree with me that Jared improving the game of Blue just by being next to her for a week as this budding showman, because that's how long it's really been. They ain't really been spending that much time together, but of course BB time, it's way longer than it seems, you know, because you're in that house, you don't have access to all these other things. But are you willing to admit that Jared is playing a much better game than these folks are trying to get you to think as well? Because he clearly is, because the people he comes into contact with, their game improves. The people America comes into contact with, their game gets worse. So you tell me who's really the unbiased one here. It's not my fault. Black Mamba Kobe Jared out here is balling. That's not my fault. I just told y'all what it is. But with that said, that's my read on the game. Now, if I could give y'all a quick little power ranking real quick, number 1, I'm going Jared. Mainly because America didn't air out his game. And even though Hisam aired out his game, let's be honest here, Hisam did it in a state of fight or flight. And at the end of the day, I don't think Matt is really going to care that much. I don't think Blue is really going to care that much, clearly. And at the end of the day, America, I think she's going to hurt her game if she keeps trying to fight for Hisam the rest of this week. And I want to know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think America fighting this hard for Hisam is one of the dumber moves we've seen this season? I truly think it is. Because she was the main one wanting him out. Now all of a sudden she doesn't want him out. Why is that? What has changed, right? And at the end of the day, if Mimi's not going to risk her game to vote with you, America, you're literally going to be on an island by yourself. And what I want is for these people to hit her with her own medicine, make her think they're keeping Hisam, and then at the last second, everyone vote out Hisam and leave her alone. I think that would be hilarious. And I think that would be the karma she deserves. Because listen, Cory is playing way too well. He has entertained your nonsensical comments for a while. You know, everyone's shipping them as this couple we can accept. But when it comes to Blue and Jared, they act like this couple's repulsive. When the truth is, Blue and Jared have 3 times the chemistry Cory and America ever could have. America's flirting with another man outside of flirting with Cory, which should tell a Cory fan she's playing him. And that's why I'm happy she aired out Cory's laundry to Jag, because it confirmed what I always suspected. So now, ladies and gentlemen, can you really knock Blue and Jared that much? when they ain't done this to each other yet, but America did it to our boy Cory? Oop. Really makes you want to look at these things a little differently, huh? And hopefully after this rant, the 14th one of the season, hopefully a little bit more of y'all are on my side when it comes to this game. I'm Dave Smith for Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. And even though it appears Hisam is gone, he at least is leaving this game with a bang. And I can't be mad at that at all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all on the flip side for another one. Until next time. Deuces.